Nesiya tova. Got it. Yeah, it's fine. I can. I'm not listening. I'm not watching. Thank you. Have a safe trip. Good morning, Kahal Kadosh. Beruchim Abaim to everybody. Today, the 28th day of Kislev, corresponding to the 22nd day of December. Today's class, graciously sponsored by Moises Daniel Betesh and his wife Corina Betesh, La'ilui Nishmat, her beloved father, Isaac Mardocheo Ben Hannah. Additionally, today's class, graciously sponsored by Mr. Elliot Betesh and family, La'ilui Nishmat, his beloved father, Yosef Ben Sara Halevi. Additionally, today's class, graciously sponsored by Gil Cohen, La'ilui Nishmat, his beloved father, Meir Ben Frida Cohen. Additionally, today's class, graciously sponsored by Ivor and Robin Braca and their family, La'ilui Nishmat, his beloved father, our founder of the synagogue, David Ben Shafika, Iratzon, that the Neshamot have an aliyah in Gan Eden. Amen. Today, the 5th day of Hanukkah at night. At this moment is the 4th day, but yesterday we learned the messages of day number 4. So now we're going to be learning the messages of day number 5. So Be'ezat Hashem, when we come up to the Seder of the Hanukkah lighting tonight, we're going to be, Be'ezat Hashem, able to understand in a more deeper manner what exactly is going on the 5th night of Hanukkah. So tonight's the guest of honor for candle number 5 is none other than Aharon Kohen. Today, as on Thursday day, the guest is still Moshe Rabbeinu, but tonight we're welcoming Aharon Kohen. And definitely, if some of you remember yesterday's class, when I spoke about the importance of the 5th night of Hanukkah, that not only that the 5th night of Hanukkah never falls on the Shabbat, but being the 5th night of Hanukkah, it's connected to the guest of Aharon Kohen. The entire celebration of Hanukkah is connected to Aharon Kohen, because Aharon Kohen has to do with the lighting of the menorah, and that's the reason why the final portion of the reading of Hanukkah is what? Beha'alotecha et hanerot el mul penei hamenorah. The concept of lighting the menorah. This Shabbat Kodesh, Rosh Chodesh and Hanukkah. Even though it's Rosh Chodesh, the Haftarah that we read and the Maftir that we're going to read is the Maftir of Hanukkah. Which Haftarah? The Haftarah of Roni Besimchi, which is the Haftarah of Perashah Be'alotecha, which is the Perashah in the Sefer that speaks about Aharon Kohen and the menorah. That happens to be tonight, the 5th night of Hanukkah. Additionally, if we all remember the famous Mishnah in Pirkei Avot, the Mishnah in Pirkei Avot talks about the greatness of Aharon Kohen as Ohev Shalom, Berodev Shalom. Somebody who loves the peace and somebody that pursues the peace. So therefore, one of the things that a person should pray for today, for tonight, is to have peace at home. As the Pasuk writes in the book of Shmuel, Beata Shalom, Ubetecha Shalom, Bechol Asher Lecha Shalom. If you are in peace with yourself, peace with your spouse, meaning peace at home, so then the domino effect of living a peaceful life is Bechol Asher Lecha. Whatever aspect of life you have, it will be crowned with peaceful and peace and harmony. Now, additionally, the midah of the 13 attributes of mercy is, yesterday was erech, meaning tolerance and patience, length. Today is apaim. What's the meaning of the word apaim? Apaim, it comes from the word af. What's the meaning of the word af in Hebrew? Nose. Nose. So apaim means double nose. Now, what does it mean, double nose? You have a big nose. What is the meaning of double nose? Maybe it refers to the nostrils of the person. So explains here, and it says, in the name of the Maharal, and it says, God, if he has tolerance and patience on the 5th night of Hanukkah, that patience gets multiplied. Double amount of amnesty. And it says that even if the person may be deserving of judgment, God says, why should I activate judgment on this individual if maybe tonight or tomorrow he's going to do teshuvah? It's an unbelievable thing. Have you ever heard of companies that reposition cars? They do repossessions. What does that mean? God forbid. You should never deal with this. But as a rabbi, I don't do only weddings. I had it sometimes to negotiate deals with repo companies. Yes. I don't know why people call me for that, but God crowned the mission with success. Okay? Repossession means if a person, God forbid, for 2 to 3 months does not pay the payment of the vehicle or the lease of the vehicle, there are companies that the bank contacts and they come to your home, to your parking lot in the middle of the night, and then suddenly the car is gone. Okay? They reposition the vehicle. That's the meaning of repo. When I say repo man, that's exactly what it means. They repose the car. They under the bank's what? No, when somebody was going through very difficult challenges at all levels, and he asked me, can you help me negotiate, settle, talk to them, etc. Baruch Hashem, some things were worked out good, like flexible payment plan, good faith deposits, so to speak, etc. So imagine yourself, the bank calls you every day. Sir, you have to pay. You have to pay. You have to pay. Imagine yourself if you tell the bank, okay, bank, tomorrow I pay you. Will the bank take that as a promise? No. Okay, first time, but if you're doing it for the 27th time, Hazako Baruch. You know the Maral of Prague says, God says, I believe in you. I'll give you one more opportunity. It's an unbelievable gift. To me, it's an unbelievable gift. Not only that, the Imbre Emet says, because this is given, let's call it as a word that I said a few days ago, as an opportunity of an amnesty program that Hashem eagerly waits for the person to come back. And it goes even further, and it says that Akadosh Baruch Hu has, how do I say this? It has this unlimited amount of tolerance. How much tolerance we have as humans? Don't say that, please. That's why I say always, when I talk, let me do most of the talking. Because if you say zero, people will get divorced the first time they have a shalom bayit issue. God forbid. God forbid. Or people will fire their employees immediately for no reason. So I believe that we all have a certain level of patience and tolerance. You know what the Pele Yoel says? That to have patience and tolerance, it's not optional. It's mandatory. Sometimes a lot, sometimes less. As a father, as a husband, as a teacher, as a rabbi, especially to the rabbis, he says the rabbis need to have more patience and tolerance than an average person, because you deal with all kinds of people. It's the reality of life. Same thing with being and educating your children. Some things you let go, right? But certain things, what you need to do, you need to discipline your child. That's why Shlomo HaMelech says, if you don't discipline your child, you don't love your child. But, let's clarify. I'm going to say it in plain English so everybody understands it. When it comes to disciplining our children, we need to have parameters. Sometimes you must say no. Sometimes you must say yes. And sometimes you have to say, let me think about it. Let's talk about it later. If you say all the time no, it's dangerous. If you say all the time yes, it's a recipe for disaster. You need to have your own balance based on your circumstances, based on your family, mindset, and based on the personality of that particular child. Not every child is the same. Sure, husband and wife may be happily married, let's say for 10 years, 20 years, and they have X amount of children, not because they share the same parents, the same Shabbat table, the same DNA. Automatically, Abraham and Sara, Ishaq and Yaakov, Reuben and Miriam are exactly the same. They are different personalities. The Gemara writes, Keshem sheparsufehem shonot. The same way that the faces of people are different and the voices of people are different, the mind of the person are different. You say something to your son one time and he listens, or you say something to your child and only by the fourth time he will listen. Let's continue. Don't take it personal, Junior. No, he says, I'm the korban of today. I have a few customers in the audience. Don't worry. Continue. Now, which other blessing are we able to receive today? Favor and grace. What I'm referring to, in the early days of Hanukkah, we learn on the beautiful prayer found after Al-Hanisim, known as the Beracha of Sim Shalom. And we learn that this sentence or this paragraph every day carries a blessing, a different blessing for each day of Hanukkah. So the first day is Shalom. The second day, Tova. The third day, Sim Shalom. Tova Ubracha. Haim was yesterday. Today is Hen. Today is Hen. What does it mean, Hen? So it says, number one, quoting from different sources. First of all, שנמצאכם בשכל טוב בעיני אלוקים באדם. Hashem enabled me to find favor and grace in the eyes of people and in the eyes of Hashem. In the eyes of Hashem, it is based on the person. A person, attitude, behaviors, etc. With people, it's not different. Let's bring an example. Why people come back to the Safra synagogue year after year? Okay, thank you for the accolades and the compliments. Okay, you saying because of the rabbi. I will have to say, okay, he says the minhagim, he says the beautiful weather, he says the kosher restaurants, he says the synagogue, he says the mikveot, he says the kosher places, the easiness that you can come from wherever you come, Mexico, Brooklyn, Deal, South America, etc., or Europe, and then you come to a city that has everything that you need for your spiritual upkeep when you go on vacation. We already learned in the summer that a person, when they go on vacation, you must take Hashem with you on vacation. You can't just go by yourself on vacation. You cannot say, you know what, I'm going to go to a place. Okay, Chazaku Baruch, it's nice, it's affordable, it's beautiful, not a problem. What about kosher food? What about a minyan? What about if your wife needs to go to the mikveh? How are you going to do? So these are the ways that a Jew thinks when they go on vacation. That's why in our communities, all over the world, by the way, Baruch Hashem, is very common that people go on vacation in groups, so to speak. The Bayam in Mexico, right? It's a beautiful place. I was never there, but basically you travel there, and it's a building that has everything that you need, including minyanim, hazanim, rabbi, mikveh, restaurants, and swimming pool for men and for ladies. Unbelievable. So when you go on vacation, your spirituality is not compromised. Okay? But imagine yourself, God forbid, somebody asked me last night why the synagogue brings valet parking during this time of the year. So we know that the synagogue throughout the year often brings valet parking, that the synagogue picks up the tab. Nobody's asking you to pay, obviously. If you want to tip the valet guy, beautiful. But we pay whatever bill we get. Because we understand that if we want to make it practical for the thousands of people that visit our synagogue on a regular basis, we need to have a service that accommodates their needs. But imagine yourself if no valet parking will be available, and you come, God forbid, to the synagogue, and you don't feel at home, you don't feel well treated, etc. Are you going to come back? It's like you go to a store, or you call a company. If you don't get a positive vibe between the individual, what do you say? Let me call you later. I'll come back later. So it says here that a person should pray, Ki hen hu matana me Hashem. To find grace in people's eyes, you don't buy it. God gives you an allowance of hen. And that's why when it comes to wisdom, is ata honen le'adam da'at. God gives you the wisdom. Noah. Remember what we learned last Shabbat, that the original name of Noah wasn't Noah, was actually Menachem. That was the original name of Noah. It was switched because the Perashah says at the end of Perashah Bereshit that when God scanned the world, God says, Nihamti ki asitim. I regret that I created mankind. And then suddenly God says, 1 minute, there is a ray of hope in the world. His name is Menachem. But I love him so much that God switches the name from Menachem to Noah. Who called Noah Menachem? The people. Why they call Noah Menachem? Because on the Pasuk says it, Say Yenahamenu, Mima'asenu, Ume'itzebon Yadenu. Until Noah was born, the fields and agriculture were very difficult for people. Noah came and he became an inventor. He developed tools to make the life of the people easier in a physical way. You have to understand. Go back to the time of Noah, more or less in the year 1060. That's when Noah was born, from the creation of the world. When we talk about the cavemen, remember in school you talk about the cavemen, Haim Tovim. I think that in those days, that's how people lived. Not only that, one of the Midrashim says that until Noah was born, the fingers of the person were all connected together. When Noah was born with the fingers separated. So the Pasuk says, Noah will console us from the pain and suffering of the labor of our hands. And that's why the Pasuk says, Yenahamenu, Lashon Menachem. When God forbid somebody sits at Shiv'ah, what do you say to them? Tenahamu min hashamayim. Be consoled from heaven. When comes the month of Av, how do we call the month of Av? Menachem Av. That was the name of Noah. Noah is going to console us. God says, for you was a consolation that now you're going to be able to work the land. For me, God says, I like Noah so much that in his honor, I will save him and I will restart humanity from Noah. And that's why the Pasuk says, Benoah matzahen be'anei Hashem. Noah found grace. Noah found favor in the eyes of God. That's why the word Noah and Hen are the same letters. The way you read it. Noah is right to left and Hen is left to right. So therefore it says that how can a person earn this blessing called Hen? There are people who walk around with the face of Tisha B'Av all year long. Tisha B'Av is only one day. Just remember that. But there are people, they walk around and they have wichak, they have the face. We find it in the parasha of last week. In last week's parasha, the Pasuk tells us that Yosef in jail realized that there were two individuals, the butler and the baker. They have zo'afim. They had long face. So according to the Sefarim HaKedoshim, the face of the person can tell us the status of the mind of the person. We're not talking about the looks of the face. We're not talking about the hair. We're not talking about the wrinkles. We're not talking about the shape. We're not talking about the whatever the face may bring. We're talking about how the person looks. You look at someone, oh, he's a happy guy. So it says here that how does a person can qualify for that? It says a couple of formulas. You need a couple of vitamins. Number one, simha, happiness. You need to be happy with yourself internally. If you're happy with yourself, in the airports, in the malls, right? You go to the duty-free shop, they're always smiling. Would you like to try this? Would you like to try that? Would you like to buy this? We have a special discount. They always tell it to you with a smile. Why? Because Shlomo HaMelech says, Kamayim apanim el apanim, ken lev ha'adam el ha'adam. What happens if I reflect my face to the water? If I smile, the water smiles back at me. And it says, the same thing happened with the heart. If I smile at you, you smile back at me. Shalom Bayit is the same. If you smile to your wife, or if you smile, the wife smiles to the husband, or the husband speaks nice to the wife, and the wife speaks nice to the husband, hopefully it will create, according to Shlomo HaMelech, most likely, there are always exceptions to this in a marriage relationship, but in reality is that imagine yourself, if I greet you and I say, hey Marcos, Baruch haba, welcome back, how do you feel? Great. But if I walk next to you and I don't even say hello to you and not acknowledge you, how do you feel? Not good. So that's exactly what, quoting the Gemara in Masechet Shavuot, that says, it says, number one, happiness. Happiness in life. And how do you develop happiness in life? It says you develop happiness in life through Torah learning and doing the mitzvot with joy and excitement. Excitement. It's like, a person needs to go on vacation, right? And you have a 6 o'clock flight. For other matters in life, we may not be always on time. But if we need to catch a flight to go on vacation, you're probably going to stay up all night long and leave the home 3 o'clock, right, to go to the airport because they tell you to be 2 hours before. And why does that happen? Because you have heshek. Heshek means excitement. Excitement in a positive way. You're excited. You imagine you tell your son, you come to shul every day, you have breakfast, you have a class after shaharit. For every day you come, we're going to go out to play, let's say, to bowling, for example. We're going to go to the arcades, or we're going to go to the hockey. We're going to go to, you create an incentive. That child or that adult, whatever situation may be, it is created by heshek, by internal excitement. Not only that, stronger connection with God. It says connecting with God. It's like you are using your cell phone and you walk around like me with a backup battery. My cell phone, by midday, it's already drained. So that's why I have a backup battery. And I don't worry anymore. I used to worry. I bought a few backup batteries, one for me, one for the office, one for the home. In the car I have the plug. So I'm always connected. So it says here, in the name of the Ramhal, it says that grace can be found by investing in happiness, excitement when it comes to do good things, irat shamayim, and humility. Humility. What does it mean, humility? Anava. You count your blessings. You don't take nothing for granted. You are thankful for whatever good you have. But comes Sefer Haredim, and it says there is one more requirement. And it says how? Bediburenu. How do you talk to people? How do you interact with people? How are your deeds? Are you a nice fellow? Are you a kind individual? Charming? Good word? When you talk to people, do you talk with them in a proper, respectful way? Or you speak to them, God forbid, in a condescending or belittling manner? Or you raise your voice, or you scream, or God forbid, you use a derogatory word or language? That's what Sefer Haredim says. These are the formulas of achieving kindness and favor from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Now, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Now, let's go further. We spoke about Aharon Kohen. Wow. 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 Did I say it 5 times? That's 5 candles. How many times I said it? 4? Wow. Number 5. It's an unbelievable hidush. Never seen before. I don't think that I ever said it if I never seen it. Maybe somebody else said. It says, unbelievable. You ready? It says the following. Good morning. It says the following. That the night of tonight is equal to the night of Lag VaOmer. Why? Because the night of Lag VaOmer is the night of Aharon Kohen. The Sephirah of Lag VaOmer is called Hod Sheba Hod. Hod, splendor, beauty. It's the Sephirah connected to Aharon. Also the word Hod comes from the word Hoda'ah. What's the meaning of Hoda'ah? Thankfulness. Hoda'ah. That's what we are called Yehudim. So it says here, in the name of Nahalat Yaakov, and it says, the celebration of Hanukkah is a celebration of gratitude to Hashem. That's why we say Hallel, full Hallel, with Beracha, every single day of Hanukkah. By the way, in this element, Hanukkah is greater than Pesach. Because Pesach, you only say Hallel with Beracha the first 2 days. The remaining days of Pesach, short Hallel. Hanukkah, every day with Beracha Hallel. There are reasons why this discrepancy between Hanukkah and Pesach, which I don't think that I'm going to discuss them today. But it says that since the entire week of Hanukkah, the way it says in Ala Nisim, it says Lehalel. No, that's Ala Mehiyah. That's a different class. The Ala Mehiyah question is being asked, why in Ala Mehiyah there is no Ala Nisim? The answer is hidden in the Ala Mehiyah. I'm not promising you today, maybe tomorrow. Belly nether, belly nether. But when it comes to the Ala Nisim, it says, Behalelu Boda'ah. We're praising Hashem. So it says, the 5th night of Hanukkah, which connects to the Sephirah of Aharon, as I mentioned in the beginning of the class, that the 5th night is Aharon HaKohen, like in the 5th night of Sukkot, שכמו ל"ג בעומר דהילולה דרבי שמעון בר יוחאי. The 5th night of Hanukkah, it's directly connected to the night of the Omer 33, which is the Hilula of Rabbi Shimon. What Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai accomplished? What was the achievement of Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai that we celebrate his passing? Usually, we don't celebrate when somebody passes away, but Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai requested that on the day that he will meet the Creator, it will be a day of celebration. And everybody knows this, that Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai was responsible of revealing the hidden secrets of the entire Torah. You call it Kabbalah, you call it Zohar, you call it the Idrot. All these Kabbalistic matters are directly connected with Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai. And therefore it says that on this particular night, the person has the zechut of Aharon HaKohen to the full virgin, and also the person has the zechut of Lag BaOmer, which Lag BaOmer, just for the record, was the first day in history, in the time of Moshe Rabbeinu, that the man came down to the Jewish people. That's what the Hatam Sofer says. We had matzot. We left Egypt when? The 15th of Nisan. Pesach. Pesach day, midday. The matzot lasted for 30 days. Okay? By the 30th day, we did not have matzot. 15, 16, 17, we have no matzot. Don't ask me what we ate back then. Maybe whatever they had. On the 4th day, which is the 18th of Iyar, that's when the man came down to Am Israel on the very first day, and then continue obviously for 40 consecutive years, with the exception of Shabbat, obviously, the way the Perashah says. That's why there is a Segullah on the Tuesday of Perashah Beshalach, and in the day of Lag BaOmer, to read the reading of the man, because that is the Perashah of Parnassah. So tonight, also pray for Parnassah. If we're riding on the Zechut of Lag BaOmer, and like the Hatam Sofer says, Lag BaOmer is the day that the man came down, take advantage. It's free. It's available for everyone. Okay? Now, let me just see if there is anything missing. Ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta. Ta-ta-ta-ta-ta. Shh. It says, because I'm going to expand myself 2 minutes. We find in the Torah and in Megillat Esther two interesting pesukim. When Yaakov meets Esav, Yaakov says, Ki Hanani Elokim, Yesh li kol. Hanani Elokim means what? I found grace, favor in the eyes of God, and I have whatever I need. This is Yaakov, Hen. Megillat Esther. When Esther and Ahashverosh interact, she says, Im matzati hen be'einei hamelech. If I found grace in the eyes of favor, in the eyes of the king, tinatel li nafshi bish'elati be'ami bebakashati. Please give me life for me and my nation. What word is Esther using? The code word is what? Hen. Who is she talking to? Borei Olam. We have a rule. We have a rule in Megillat Esther. Unless the pasuk says Ahashverosh, when the pasuk says Hamelech, it refers to Hashem. For example, Balaylahu nadeda shenat Hamelech. Then that night the king wasn't able to sleep. Who is this? Hakadosh Baruch Hu. There is a decree going against the Jewish people. Who is going to save the day? Because the Jewish people participating in the feast of Ahashverosh, and they failed to refuse to listen to Mordechai. So the Malachim read and they say, hold on, Mordechai a Sadiq did something good. So it says here that in Matzati Hen Be'einei Melech, if I found favor in the eyes of the king, today's day is a day that a person should pray Lekol HaYeshuot, for whatever salvation the person needs, and obviously pray that Hashem should shower you with a tremendous amount of success in every aspect of your life. These are the messages of candle lighting number 5. We say to everybody, Tizku Leshanim Rabot, Chag Sameach to everyone, and Be'ezat Hashem, tomorrow we'll try to cover the halachot of Hanukkah lighting Friday and Mosa'e Shabbat as well, because there's a lot of halachot in these two particular moments that only come once a year. Baruch Adonai Le'olam, Amen Be'amen. Rabbi Hananiah ben Akashia Omer, Ratzah Kadosh Baruch Hu lezakot et Israel lefichach, irba lahen Torah mizvot